Live.
Holy smokes, it's Friday. Bites and banter. Oh my gosh, I was just biting up a storm before we went live, wasn't I, Tyler? I had peanut butter toast, I had a smoothie, I had a kombucha, and then I'm going to have a coffee because we are the beverage generation. I learned from you.
We are the multi-beverage generation, not just the
Multi-beverage.
beverage. Yeah, like we have
Right.
plenty of beverages. Case
Multi-
in point here, and this is a minimal thing for me. Yeah,
right. Yeah, let's just,
yeah, exactly.
yeah, exactly.
Amy and I
Exactly.
used to crack up. There was these folks that lived next door to us when we were home shopping. We were renting this townhome, and there was this younger millennial. We're elder millennials, and we would see them come home.
Geriatric millennials, even.
Yeah, we would see them come home from work. Yeah, we are the geriatric
Yeah,
version
because
of it.
we're right at the edge. Yeah.
Yeah. Both of them, husband and wife, come home from their jobs, would have like their backpacks on with like their laptops or whatever in it, and then arms full of drinking containers, trying to get it into the door. It was just, yeah.
You know how the internet is like, was saying for a while, like, okay, boomer, what are they going to say to us? Like, what are the Zers saying about us? Like, okay, millennial. It doesn't sound as good, you
That's
know?
like, yeah, I don't know. The drinking thing is definitely a red flag millennial thing. And Amy and I, dude, we've gone deep on this. We're like, why? What is the point of that? And
Yeah.
I think it's because think about how many different like containers have been pitched to us in our lifetime. There was
Mm-hmm.
like Turvises and Yetis and hydro flasks and what was the Nalgene bottles? Now, did you guys have one of those? Like for
Sure.
yeah,
Oh,
all
yeah,
that kind of stuff.
absolutely.
So
I,
not AI, but definitely just like
yeah.
random thoughts with Tyler, and this is what we spend our time thinking about when I'm not thinking about AI.
I know, right? I mean, I wonder if some of it has to do with like, I don't have enough time to eat mindset. So I'm like just drinking and staying hydrated because I can do that on the go and move quicker. Like I have a lot of smoothies. I make a lot of smoothies.
Same,
Yeah.
same. Yeah.
I do too, but I'm not millennial.
No, you're an Xer, baby.
I am
Yes. You are Quentin Tarantino. You are Mallrats. You are
old.
Old.
I don't know where that time went. Yeah.
no, I'm right behind you. I feel you. So, we are. It's Friday. It's Bites and Banter. This is three of the six Light Magic AI team, and you can participate. This is our casual Friday hang where we talk about use cases, we talk about pain points, we can talk about beverages for maybe too long than we need to. And if you want to join this conversation, you can join us. We are streaming out to all the things. And the way you come into the room is on Zoom. So we're in a Zoom room that's being blasted out. So if you're on LinkedIn, that's in the description. There's the Zoom link, or also in the comments. I believe Tyler dropped it in the comments a couple of times because he is such a, a polite gentleman who is taking care of everybody here. Um,
Yeah, I've got it in here now, and I'm doing another post. Double check it. Come hang with the Light Magic AI crew for Bites and Manner going on live now.
yeah,
Boom. There we go. Sweet. So
yeah,
yeah, just anyone like, and you don't have to be in the AI space. If you just have questions and want to come talk about it, that's also cool. And if
yeah.
not, we're totally cool to hang out with ourselves and chat all things AI. That's what we do anyway.
I mean, yeah, we're pretty much just broadcasting what we do is because we all live in different places. We're all on Zoom together, and we'll just have like work sessions, and we'll just open up the Zoom room and we'll figure stuff out. And hilariously, though, Michael and I live 10 minutes from each other and we still have not met yet.
We'll have to figure that out.
We need to
We'll get our
work on
dogs
that.
together. Yeah.
Yeah, we need to work on that. I mean, I know my generation avoids phone calls. Do you avoid hanging out,
Oh,
Gen X?
um, well, I do, but I don't know if that's if that's our generation or not. Um, I avoid phone calls though as well.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like everybody kind of moved in that direction.
I'd rather have to talk to someone in person than a phone call.
Totally. Totally. And I feel like Zoom, FaceTime, all that stuff is much different than a phone call. It's more like an in-person.
Well, Zoom's different for sure. Yeah. I don't avoid Zooms really.
Oh, we got a friend. Hello, Lars.
What's up? How are you? Oh, I think he's still getting all
Yeah, get situated.
All
You say hi
audioed.
when you're ready. You can drop stuff in the chat too. If you are having mic issues, you can write in the chat in all of the things. But once you're in the Zoom room, you can see it right here too. But looks like your audio is connecting. Yeah, so oh hello, sir. There you are. Yeah, you're muted if I don't know if that's intentional.
There we go. Now you can hear
perfect.
me. That was a
Hello.
great entry.
Yes, very dramatic. Good job.
Mm, yes, I succeeded.
Yes.
Well, my name is Mark. Nice to meet you guys.
Nice to meet you
Nice
too.
to
Where
meet
are you
you.
calling in
Nice
from?
meeting you.
So you are a team or something? I just joined. I saw AI, and then I saw something interesting, and then I just think let's join on my Friday night.
On your
Love
Friday
it.
night, where are you calling in from,
Europe
Lars?
must be.
It's Friday, right? Yeah, it's
Yes.
Friday.
It is Friday, yeah.
Yeah, I'm living in the Netherlands at the moment.
Oh, wow. Very
Nice.
very, very
Nice.
nice. And we
Mhm.
also have Jonathan Wall on the call now. Welcome.
Yeah, Jonathan's coming in. Yeah, Jonathan's cool, man.
Mhm.
Yeah,
So
so
yeah,
Lars,
Lars. Yeah, go
go
ahead.
ahead, Hunter.
No, you go.
Yeah, so what are you into in AI? Have you been using it so far, or do you work in the space, or just interested in it?
I'm an entrepreneur for 8 years. I'm 28. I started as a painter company, then a contractor, and 4 months ago I saw the world changing with AI. So I sold my contracting business and then went full on AI. So working like crazy these days. I left my home. I sleep in hotels now, just focused on building my company and rapidly evolving into something really great. It's called 22 AI.
22 AI. Okay, cool. Do you have
Yeah,
is it 22AI.ai or do you have a website yet? Check it out.
yeah, it's 22ai.nl. But I'm currently working on the website, so you won't see a lot.
Okay. Sweet.
But I can uh, send you guys in the chat a link.
That's cool. Yeah. So is this a Shopify store, it looks like?
I have been building GPTs for the last week constantly, and I have a lot of GPTs now. And some are really great. Some have been evolving into something weird, um, and that's what I'm going to sell. That's what I'm going to make my business income from. I
That's
hope.
cool.
I think
So
that's the plan.
what's your thoughts on I mean, we don't know a lot about it yet, but like the new marketplace, like when OpenAI finally opens up that, are you going to try and sell them in there too, or are you just mainly going to try and move them through your own website, do you think?
Um, well, I don't know yet. I think it's great to share it all. Exactly, I saw it with it's with the tokens, right? If you put it on the website, you get tokens or something like that.
Oh, is
Or
that
is that
right?
another?
I don't know if I've seen that one yet. Have you seen that, Michael? Like all the new stuff?
I haven't seen that.
It's
Yeah.
called open something. Maybe it's a fake website. That could be.
Okay. Uh-oh, Francis is here now.
Francis wanted to say hello because he was getting very jealous
Oh,
that we
What's
weren't
up? There's
talking about
Jonathan.
how AI
Francis.
is impacting puppies.
Mhm.
Happy Friday.
My dog's like 20 of Francis's.
Yes, Francis is 6.5 pounds, this little bean.
Oh,
Yeah, well, my dog Woodford is 200 pounds.
Woodford.
Dude,
Oh,
what kind of dog is
that's a
he?
great name.
He's Great Pyrenees.
Oh wow,
Patois, as they say in French.
great.
He's a big
So
boy.
that's the livestock guardian dog, is it not?
Yes, he is. Yeah.
So do you have a farm, or you just like them?
I used to have a little bit more space. We moved into a new house about a year and a half ago that has a little bit less space, but we still have chickens and there's coyotes all around us and stuff like that. So, he does his job.
That's awesome. Yeah, you're speaking my language with chickens. That's what when I'm not doing AI, like I had a different startup going on before this where I was making and selling mobile chicken tractors, like mobile chicken coops,
I know
And
exactly what you're talking about.
yeah, so we still have some of those running around on our farm, but we've got them set up that way so we don't have to have the dogs over there because that's about a 10-minute drive from our actual house. So yeah.
Well,
No,
AI is
it's like
now
chicken
laying
AI.
eggs, so it's kind of your business now. It's like AI is popping like eggs these days.
Crazy.
Yeah, exactly.
So
And
what?
so, Lars, to answer your question earlier, like who are we and what are we doing?
Mhm.
So, three of us here, Tyler, Michael, and myself, we're three of
Who's
six.
Tyler? Who's Michael?
Oh, Michael is, well, Tyler and Michael are both wearing glasses. I guess Jonathan is too.
Doesn't help much.
If you're
No,
he's
on
I
your
got
was
his
gonna
phone,
say
yeah,
Tyler's
The
the
one
one
with
with
the
glasses
glasses,
and
yeah.
beard, and that's also Jonathan.
Yeah, but we're repping our states though. Tyler's Tennessee and I'm California. So
There you go. Yeah.
Mm.
There's
now we got another,
Oh,
Josh.
another
nice.
bald guy with a beard. This
Oh,
is
you
There
great.
we
Look at the party.
Good company.
Jeez.
How y'all doing?
Who are you? What are you doing? You three work together? Do you have a business together, or?
Tyler, you
Yes.
can take it.
Yes. So like the Michael, Hunter, Josh, Sarah, and Ann, who are not here, we all have a team where we do AI consulting and automation and product builds. We do everything from strategy all the way to implementation and all the stuff in between. That's probably the TLDR version of that. Yeah.
What is the TLDR version?
Oh,
What does it do?
too
long
long
didn't read.
didn't read. Short the
It's like
paraphrase
the
version.
summary version. Yeah.
Ah,
Yeah.
I thought it was an AI model or something.
Oh yeah.
Nothing that interesting. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So, okay, you consulting, and you are doing that to businesses together,
Hmm.
or okay.
Yeah. So
And
we're
you said program automation. Do you use? I saw Zapier. I just started with Zapier.
mhm.
It's kind of unknown for me, still, but I will learn it quickly. Um, do you use Zapier or do you use another program?
We use a bunch. So we use Zapier. Josh is a big make guy. So like make.com. We use Respell AI is another tool that's like a no or low code type AI automation tool. I've messed
Wait,
around with N8N. I've used that for some projects too. It's just there's so many
all
different
right.
tools right now. A lot of them do similar things. They just come at it from different angles or UIs, or maybe have different capabilities for certain platforms. So
Mm-hmm.
it's just it's kind of like a Coke versus Pepsi kind of conversation of like which one do you like best. So
But don't you guys get lost in all the tools, or do you like connect Zapier with? Do you connect all the tools with each other, or how do you do it? Because I'm really searching for one system, connecting everything. But
yeah, probably if you're just getting into it, like the picking Zapier or Make, I would try both of them and then see which one just comes more naturally to you, because like their user interfaces are a bit different. So some people like one over the other, but they do essentially the same stuff. So I don't know,
which one did you
Josh and
say a
Michael,
second?
say that one more time.
Which one did you say said after Zapier?
Oh, make.com.
Ah, make. Yeah, I saw
Yeah.
that too. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
but I don't know. What do you think, Josh? Like, what's your recommendation if he's just now getting into this stuff?
Yeah, so most of the tools that you're going to use in terms of automation platforms are great at pushing, like you said, one tool to another information through a sequence of tools. Like that's very standard sequencing, adding AI modules, running other, software. But the main thing that you need to probably establish as you're building all those different sequences and automations is some centralized repository. Normally, we'll push towards like a no-code database like Airtable, and that way we can kind of pull everything out of those platforms and into a hub, right? As
What
you
is
go
the
about
hub?
automating, normally it's either moving info from one SaaS tool to another,
Mhm.
or you'll do some sort of automation where you'll take information, pass it through the AI sequences or the different tools that you use in your stack, and then create some sort of tangible, like normal business document, like a Google Doc or a presentation or an email. And that's where it starts to live. So in the automation lane, like our solutions are often there. And kind of to your point about platform, right now there's a bunch of different companies who are working on this whole like ecosystem because it's not, while it's scalable to build automations and basically connect all these things, having a hub that's supercharged with all your data that has all the
Yeah.
context and your assistants that you build and the automations you deploy and this, that, and the other, like having one platform to do all that work is what's currently being built by probably dozens of AI startup companies. So yeah, that's generally it's a huge need right now, and we're just on the cusp of like getting these tools into production and testing and talking with like our team specifically. We talked to a few different companies who are working on this stuff because we want to put the work we do into a place that is more accessible. Like we can work in the back end and see all this stuff happening, but like end users struggle with that. Like trying to get people who don't know Airtable to use Airtable is like, that's a big
What is
lift.
Airtable?
It's a database
What?
tool. So
All
it's
right.
just code databasing.
Mhm.
Yeah. And all that to say, it's still like so early in this like AI tool space that like these hubs are, yeah, they're just coming to market. So we're excited like for what's coming in the next year and the coming, 2 or 3 quarters, because everything that we do will start to feel a lot more like home because it has a place to live that isn't
Yeah.
just backends and all
And
that.
I'm questioning on that, Josh, because like one of the things that I think is a struggle right now is there's the noise to signal ratio between kind of the number of tools coming out versus the kind of where do you start building. Like I built an app in Mind Studio, a no code app in Mind Studio, just for a demo day I did last week for a VC, and hit a few roadblocks, but I was already into it, so I just kept going. And if I had, Tyler had suggested respell, I was like, I was too deep with this other thing to pivot late.
Yeah.
Yeah, it sounds like Tyler's the respell fan. But I'm thinking about like tech stack. I mean, when you think about tech stack, because I'm basically going to double down and probably start building a few different things that are kind of focused on my area of expertise, which is talent acquisition and recruiting. I think there's just massive opportunity there, especially for automation and also for agents. And thinking about kind of the tech stack required, even just to get to MVP. I mean, Airtable, Make slash Respell. Any other thoughts on what that tech stack needs to look like just for like a solo builder, especially no code builds?
Yeah. So there's like a purely no code way to do it, and then there's a low code way to do it. The
Sure.
no code way is just using existing tools to piece together an interface. Once again, no code, just connecting systems. And you go from interface connection to database connection to automation connection back to output, and you just whatever the output is supposed to be. A common stack for those, like that sequence of completely no code, would be like, say you wanted to take an entry on, like you wanted to generate some sort of report based off like a client lead intake report. They told you about their business, they're interested in AI services. How can I help you? We take your information, pass it through some AI automations, save all the outputs and data in a database in Airtable, and then the output's a Google Doc based off of a template we create. Like those are like 4 tools you use, like Typeform for your intake form because it looks nice and it's clean and it connects to Airtable. That every form entry goes into Airtable that triggers your make.com sequence or your Zapier sequence, and then the Google Doc gets emailed, and that's so the user interface is Typeform, and then I open my email and I open the file.
Right.
Very simple, basic, and that's unless you're going to be displaying information from your Airtable database, you could add like interfaces inside of Airtable for users to see those generative outputs as well. And there are no code tools like NoLoco and others and like Softer that you could wrap around an Airtable to make it scalable with users so that more people could use the system. And, if you had a bunch of generative here, like call and response style outputs, that would be completely no code with those 4 or 5 tools. The low code way that keeps everything in one place would be Bubble. If you build a Bubble app, you have to do a Bubble interface. So you have to at least design some sort of interface system, which isn't super hard to do. If you're not a designer, it's really easy to find designers for UX UI on the different platforms for that. Or if you know somebody, it's like get the design sorted in Figma, push it to Bubble, connect it through their API connector directly to OpenAI if you're going to do like OpenAI calls, for example, with ChatGPT or other GPT models. And then you just return the responses back to your Bubble app. And then you don't have to do Make or Airtable or Zapier or Typeform. Like you just kept it all in one place and simplified things. But it's kind of a pick your flavor because at that point, when you're editing your prompts and you're building your automations, you're using the workflows inside of Bubble and their automation system, which isn't too different from Make or Zapier, but it isn't as user-friendly for like the beginner. So I will often, like, it's way faster for me because I'm a no-code guy to get an MVP spun up and published in Airtable using that first sequence and pass and recall all the responses inside of this Airtable like ecosystems instead of like, because I'm not a designer, so that becomes a blocker for me and Bubble takes longer. But if you put all the pieces together and you have people to collaborate with and a little bit of a budget, Bubble is a nice smooth way to go.
Yeah, my first effort on Bubble ended up looking just like the ChatGPT interface. It was terrible. So yeah, I know the pain there. Have you guys played with Mind Studio at all from UAI? Anyone played with that? Yeah, it's not hard. It's actually pretty cool. It's model agnostic. It's completely no code. It's very built off of the prompt. And I was able to basically generate a pretty basic, but the output was pretty robust in mimicking like a recruiting intake meeting, basically like you were talking about, like client intake, right? Take all those data points, then use that and through a prompt to generate a series of documents that we use for recruiting, like to get everything from interview questions to to social media posts, job description, all that kind of stuff. But I found the interface a little bit lacking, especially because there was some navigation lacking. But if you guys haven't played with Mind Studio yet, I do think it's at least worth checking out. They seem to be really responsive, and they have a really robust Discord channel as well. But I'm looking for like, okay, how do I get away from that? So maybe Josh, maybe I can follow up with you offline.
Yeah, that'd be sweet.
What did you say?
Mind Studio by UAI. It's just go to uai.ai and you'll find Mind Studio there. It's a pretty neat tool.
We go. Yep, Michael beat me to it. That's why I was trying to drop it in the chat for everybody there too, so they can see it. That's cool.
I saw like this ad coming by of a summary of the meeting. Is this being?
Is it being recorded? Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Josh has got his Fathom in here, and I think that I've got one of my AI meeting recorders is probably in here. And of course, we're live streaming it too, so it'll be out there all over all sorts of platforms right now. So yeah.
Okay. That's okay. Yeah. So I can watch it back as well, because here under it says a summary of the meeting is online.
Yeah.
So is it creating like a text-based file, or
in terms of Yeah, so there's a bunch of different meeting assistants. Fathom is one of my favorites because it'll record transcript from the call, so you have transcript. They have a whole like portal that you can log in and see the whole call recording, so you can rewatch things. They have like a moment by moment transcript version, and then you can basically copy to your clipboard with one click. And then the premium options, you get integrations and automation. To push to other tools and apps through Zapier or through some of their integrations that are native. So yeah, Fathom's a big call or a great call recording kind of tool that I lean on a lot. But it only is in the meetings as long as I am. So like I won't be here the whole time and then I'll hop out. So Tyler will have the recording from this specific call to share.
Right.
Yeah.
Cool.
Suzanne, hey, how are you doing today on Friday? Thank you for joining us.
It's been a long week. I will say I don't sleep that much anymore.
Yeah, team no sleep.
Team
Yeah.
no sleep.
I feel you. Yeah,
Oh,
I was
no.
up late last night playing with some tools, and then we have two toddler boys, and one of them wakes up super early in the morning, so he's my alarm clock bright and early. Yeah.
Yeah, this is why, thanks to this new link, this is why I have over 300 tabs open.
Oh, really? Oh, I know that.
Now
Yeah.
we're at 301.
Oh, I love it. I love it.
And this is why I stay up all night.
Yeah. What all you been getting into this week, AI wise?
I was looking at something last night. What was it called? Decohere, DECOHERE.ai. I can drop it in there. It was from Kyle.
From
You know,
Kyle
Kyle
Shannon?
Shannon. Yeah,
Oh yeah, yeah. Uh-huh.
this is the one. It was another little video one. But
Nice.
I think there's a password for that. Let's do this.
Where can I see it?
Oh, it didn't go in there? Oh, interesting. Oh yeah, there it is. I'll put the password. At least for the turbo. There you go.
Gotta go fast. Love it.
Where can I see what you see?
That is okay. So Large, if you click on the chat on your phone, I think it's gonna be like you have to tap the screen and then the menu should pop up for Zoom. Then open up the chat, and then Suzanne dropped in the app link. It's app .decohere.ai/turbo.
All right. Okay.
Yeah. Did you play with that music generation app that he shared last weekend? Was it Sumo or something like that?
I think it was Sumo. I haven't had time to play with that one yet.
I got stuck in that for like an hour. It was fun. Yeah. I've got to be careful because these things, you can rabbit hole these things easily. Like I've made myself stay away from like AppSumo, and Black Friday, Cyber Monday was the first time I went there recently, just because they get me with that money back guarantee for whatever 60 or 90 days, and there's so many cool like tools coming out on there. But yeah, it's fun times. It's tool overload right now.
It really is. But also too, I'm in terms of building GPTs and doing things like that, I'm still got way too many ideas that I'm trying to do. So I think, and the problem is every time somebody has like, I don't know, a problem they're solving, I'm like, oh, I could build a GPT for that. And then an hour later, I'm in a rabbit hole completely because I'm testing it. And I mean, I can build it in like 10 minutes, but then you gotta keep iterating and testing. Anyway, I think I have 20 published live ones, and I've got a whole bunch more that are not published that are half baked.
That's awesome. Do you have them do you share them somewhere? Do you have like a website or
Yeah,
something?
I should set up a website, but there is actually one really good directory that has a page where it actually shows everything that I have published. I can drop that one in the chat.
Sweet.
Yeah. They're all
Suzanne, from what you've been doing, like what makes a GPT better than just a really good prompt? Like what do you have to do to set those up so that it's like you're really getting better output?
Well, I think really mine are pretty logic driven, and the smart group of people, you could figure it out if I'm not doing anything with the Zapier yet. I keep trying to go that way. I'll start working that direction, and then I get distracted with another tool or something else. But I think it's just my logic process. I'll use one for example. Again, this group I'm sure would have it figured out in like 10 minutes, but like the average person probably wouldn't. And I guess that's really more the audience, right? So everybody loves Barbie, right? We all love Barbie, and we know Dolly is shutting down on copyright and trademark stuff. So as a background in design, I went and got the Barbie hex code number, all the Barbie color palette from the movie. So I found the swatches, and I even you can drop the image into into Vision, and it'll give you a whole string of hex codes. And then I go in and I get a whole scenario of different color palettes, and then I'm calling it the iconic pink pop art. So it will go in and do that. So that's the type of stuff that it's like extra stuff that the average person wouldn't know how to
I see. That makes a lot of sense.
right. So,
Yeah.
I mean, some of them are super simple and people have already spun them up. Like one of them I did was, just for fun, Magic 8 Ball. Just, and that one I share, like if people, I will post it if people want to understand how I, build things in the back end. But I do try to keep it kind of like, here's the background, here's all these steps that you take, very sequential. I put a call to action, which actually I got to go through and update them. I now actually have a let me teach you how to build your GPT in less than 30 minutes. So I've got a new CTA. They're just for fun, I'm not actually a real consultant at this stage. But also I'm also starting to drop affiliate links in, or I'm going to. I have like a placeholder for one, like one's based on a book. And then all that. So I keep it pretty organized. So really I think my secret is I'm a product manager in real life. And so I just keep really clean notes and think of it more about what is the problem I'm solving and less about this is Chat GPT, because this can be spun up anywhere.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, the reason I asked is because sometimes I think I know what the best way to like frame a question is, or how it should, what its like framework it should be working from. But sometimes I make it worse. Right? Like if I just let ChatGPT do its thing, it often gives me better output than what I think it should be giving me. And I'm like, oh well, actually, what I told it to do isn't as good as what it just did on its own. So that's part of the reason why I asked of because if you're making a GPT in a way, you're sort of telling it how you want it to do things, and it's just not always necessarily better than just letting it go. So I was just interested in like how you like manage that.
I think I go back and forth, like I'll test it. And then also too, I think I dropped on a call with Tyler and Anne, and Anne published some of the custom instructions I use. So I actually it comes back with a series of questions for me and other thought processes when I'm in Chat GPT 3.5 or 4. So it helps me think through things that maybe I haven't thought about. So I'll go and test it. I don't start the GPT builder is just the configuration. When you build a product, you don't start at configuration. You start with what you're solving for. And so I actually start building it out in my OneNote before I do that. And I do testing and quote unquote discovery, which is what you would do. You come up with a solution and then you build out the configuration. So I don't start at the GPT builder usually. So I think that might be the difference, because I treat this as if it is a software product. So I keep notes as if I could spin this up to, I don't know, at any platform. I could put it on Poe. I could put it on, I've done some, I spun up on that AWS Party Rock. If Google has one, I can easily spin it up, and I just have notes, and then I go from there, because it's really coming for more like, what am I solving, and building out those requirements or who that user is.
That's cool.
Good stuff, Suzanne.
Yeah, it's helpful having a actual product background, because I that's how you have to do it, and if these actually become in a store or live, then I would actually go back and start talking to users. And because what you think might be good, I mean, this is MVP, what you think might be good may not be what your users want. And until you start talking with your users, you're really not going to be able to get good feedback. And so we're in a really weird space. We also won't be able to get any metrics on usage, like how many times do they sign in? How long are they on there? When's the last time they signed in? Those are really critical pieces of information that you're going to need to know about your users.
Yeah, for sure. Like that, those were excellent points that you're bringing up in Ann's call the other day, because you can't even see how they're interacting with them right now. So I'm hoping that once they get further down the road with custom GPTs, that they'll make that available. But I don't know if they will. Because I think that's like where the assistance API kind of comes in, because that's essentially the same thing, just building it from the API ground instead, where then you can like plug that into a tool that you can get all that sort of information. But I personally would like to see it where it's even easier if they could set it up that way, so you can just interact, even just seeing like the histories. So if you're doing something that in the custom GPT that the product is very like interactive with the consumer, and then that information is used to then like send them something or whatever after the fact, like there's not a way to even get that. Like the way that I've seen folks run that now is they'll give them like an email address or something and say copy and paste this and send it to us or something, so they know how you've interacted with the GPT to get it to their team. If that does that make sense what I'm getting at there? It's just
Yeah, but it's super complicated. I mean, again, this is their MVP. This is probably something they weren't even
true.
supposed to launch yet, based on what we're all hearing, right? It wasn't really ready. And so I think that it's all gonna, shake out. I'm sure they have a roadmap. I'm sure some of these features will be coming. Maybe will be more of a premium plan or a developer plan, or I'm sure there'll be different things, um, down the road. And I mean, whether there's 30,000 GPTs or how many ever out there, a lot of them I think will be dead in the water as soon as like another release comes out, because a lot of people, the average person that are people are like, teach me how to build a GPT. They think they're one and done. They don't realize this is a product. It lives. It's gonna, you're gonna have to keep tweaking it. Dolly made an adjustment. Right now, I don't even know if some of my GPTs even work, and I have to go back and do, testing constantly, because if it changes their parameters, we don't, and they're not saying, hey, we're releasing an update today. Go and make, like in, software, when you have integrations or you're building things, and you can go in and make sure that your users have a smooth experience. You won't know because you don't even have access to your users.
Yeah, exactly. I'm curious because you touched on it, and have you messed with doing affiliate links yet? Because I think that's a really smart way to monetize these right now, is like, because I've thought about that a lot. I've even seen one of the most interesting GPTs I saw was that someone had it where you could just take pictures of any object that you wanted to list for sale, and then it would like scan the object, research it online, then go back online to find out what a used market fair price for that is, and then write like a marketplace description. So you could easily like do that and then give them a link to go sign up for Shopify. Like if it wasn't just like a one-off thing, like if they were trying to launch a Shopify store for a whole product base or whatnot, that would be just one quick example of the way you could do that. Would be pretty good money wise for an easy GPT to spin up, I would say, if you could drive traffic.
Well, I actually started one of my half-baked ones because it's super complex. The problem, you start getting really complex. I'm like, wow, I'm building a full product here. I got to slow down. Is I have a stack of stuff that I have some stuff on eBay or Poshmark, and I was going to have it step by step, be able to fill it out and then write all that. But there's just so many series of questions that you need to get from that user to build it fully out, in terms of sizes and colors, and is it new with a tag or not a new. And I'm just like, okay, start building it all out, and I'm like, okay, I got a lot to do, so let me figure out, maybe there's a better way or easier way. So I put that one on hold. But the affiliate links, I haven't signed up for programs yet, which I would do if I can, say if it ends up in the store. So for example, one of them, the one of my ideas is about frameworks, like thinking through. So I just pulled one. I did 6 thinking caps or hats. And I actually made it 6 thinking caps instead of hats. And I made a little hat diagram. Thank goodness I have Photoshop skills because Dolly and all these programs never give you what you want. I needed them all in the right colors. And then so in there it talks about who the author is, and it goes through whatever problem that you're trying to solve and gives you a solution based on all those perspectives, right? And in the bottom it's like, if you want to know more about this thing, and then I can put it, I have a Barnes and Noble and a Amazon link in there, and I'll switch them out with affiliate links if this becomes real.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah, because Amazon affiliate links pretty easy to get, and then you have um like an infinite number of products that you could be answering questions for. Like you could literally go spin up a GPT for an individual product that scans all the Q&As, the product details, and all that kind of stuff. That could just be their customer service GPT, and then you give them the link to go back there and buy it if they needed to. Like it, there's a lot of really new, interesting ways to be able to monetize these things outside of whatever OpenAI is going to end up doing with their stuff. So that's cool though, like how you're thinking about that. I like where your head's at on that.
Yeah, think about it. I mean, we're in the ground floor. Think about TikTok, how many ever years ago? Those people are in the ground floor. I love, what's her name, Michaela, who does makeup, or whatever. She's got, I don't even know, maybe 15 million people. There's a lot of women who do makeup. She just happened to be at the right place at the right time and get the right things. And, if we're being early, we've got the time to play with it and test it and think these things through and actually, potentially, get some traction there. So think about how they're monetizing it.
Yeah, that's true. I want to shout out Chi. I saw he jumped in here. What's up, brother? I know you're off camera right now. If you want to or able to come on, would love to chat with you. If not, that's totally cool too.
Hey Tyler, how's it going?
Good, brother. How you doing?
Good, good, good. 1 second, let me find my
Yeah,
camera. Yeah.
there in the mountains. I love it. Yeah. What have you been into in AI this week?
So with AI, because I still do a lot of ghostwriting for my day job, I'm just using it in my workflow to help clients gather data and then create content. So that's how I've been doing a lot of my AIX implementation right now. Is just figuring out ways to like capture information from clients in terms of, if I do an interview with a client, okay, transcribe it, turn it into an article. I come in as a ghostwriter, I make it even better because you all know that some of these things don't really type like or write like a human actually does, right? So adding the extra voice and style to make it more human friendly. It's cut down my work time by like over 60%, I believe, if not more than that. So I'm able to actually even do more and take on more work, because at some point I was capped just because of the processes involved. But with AI coming into my workflow, I think I've saved, yeah, over 70%. So that's added 1 or 2 extra clients to my monthly stack, which is good. So just taking this time in December to like finish out the course and then start getting into the more nitty-gritty stuff that you were doing for the 30-day challenge, I believe.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's awesome. So are when the people that you're getting for ghostwriting services, are you getting those through referrals, or do you get that through like LinkedIn, or how are you finding those?
It's a mix. I do a mix of cold pitching, and then I write for different magazines. So CNET, I ghostwrite in Business Insider and a few other places. So people actually find my old articles and reach out to me. So it's a mix.
That's
And
awesome.
then podcast clients that I've had in the past also come back and want to turn some of their podcast content into written text for either LinkedIn or publications.
Yeah. I mean, that's the name of the game right now. Like if you're making any sort of content, repurposing it, like for sure. That's one of the things I've noticed that a bunch of the big podcasters got on really quick is that they would take their full transcript from their episode and put that on for SEO searchability. And it would be like a 3-hour podcast. This is not a short transcript.
Mhm.
And then they would have the summary too. And that transcript was generally like a click through link. But it just gets them to rank higher for everything that they talked about in there. So that's a service that I would think you crush it at if you're doing that, to be able to like help them
So
do the transcription and then write beyond that too.
yeah, so I'm even thinking, at least with this Christmas break coming up, to try and implement OpenAI Whisper, to take that just to make the transcript even better, and then go in there, clean everything up quickly, and then start publishing it. So, because a lot of people that go on podcasts, they want to get clients for their business, right? So the audience building is there, the client getting is there, but being able to put everything together so that you get like a good flow and sequence from getting attention to actually turning it into dollars, that's where a lot of things break. And that's where I'm finding that we can get a lot of value by implementing AI in the workflow.
Yeah.
Hey, Chi, can you tell me a little bit more? What is Whisper? It's just that's the first time I've heard. I'm not huge in podcast space. I'm not familiar with the area.
In the OpenAI playground, but if I believe it's one of the LLMs that you can use for transcription. I think I came across it in AIX, and that's what I've been playing with. Yeah, so it's just an LLM that does a much better job at converting audio into text.
What's the primary difference you see? Is it accuracy? I mean, like I've used Otter a bunch, and the accuracy is not as great. So, what do you see as the differences?
I think it's the accuracy for me. It's the accuracy and speed, more or less. Because sometimes, so someone like me that has African accent versus Tyler that has a Tennessee or a Southern accent, it picks it up really, really well. In most other, like Descript, for example, some of the things I say, it's hard for it to like, know exactly what I'm saying. But with Whisper, I found that it picks up my accent really well. And it makes it easier for me to have a better transcript. So if I'm talking with Tyler, I don't have to go in and figure out, okay, what's this thing trying to say that I said? It already figured it out.
Yeah. So cool. Whisper too, Jonathan. So that's like OpenAI's voice to text transcription model. And a lot of the services that you see out there that do that, a lot of them are built on that. They're wrappers.
Built on Whisper.
Yeah.
Sure, that makes sense.
That's one of the main ones, but that's not the only one by any means. So yeah. But it's awesome. Then you get into the issues of, and I don't know if they fixed this. Michael, do you know this? If they fixed it where the limit of the file size or the length that you can run through it without running, because they made it where you'd have to split the file originally, and there's folks that wrote like a quick Python script that would take a longer, like a 1-hour podcast, split it into 3 sections, and then run it through there to do the transcription.
I don't know if they've fixed that or not. I haven't spent a lot of time in it.
Yeah. There's a lot of, like, you can run that right through Zapier. It's in there. You can run it through Make. It's just a model choice if you want to do it in an automation. Respell has it. I know Respell's text to voice is run on Whisper, and they have the Python script built in there. So you can throw a 3-hour audio at it, and it'll do it. It takes it a minute, but it'll do it.
Oh, nice.
That's one of the nice things about Respell.
Mm-hmm.
They just take some of those, because like you could do a lot of this stuff using LangChain, right? But it's sort of like it's like a lot of the stuff that you'd have to like finagle in doing that yourself. They've sort of taken care of for you.
Right. It's the friction points there for sure. That's what Anne was talking about the other day. She's like, I know a bunch of people that pay $1 a minute for transcription, which is kind of like, I just forget that people don't realize that this is out there now. And yeah, because it definitely does not cost $1 a minute for Whisper, for sure.
Yeah.
I'm curious what you guys' take on, kind of a lot of the news came out this morning about the Gemini demo being faked, if you will. I mean, I having just done a demo last week, I know that I chose my screenshots wisely, what to do about nothing, or is it, kind of signs of a bigger problem in your guys' perspective? I mean, obviously Google's so far behind, but there's this narrative that they're going to, jump, leapfrog ahead. I'm just curious what you guys' take is.
So, yes, I think they probably hyped it up. like for sure, just because everyone hypes up their stuff now. But at the same time, these models get better by the amount of data that you can throw at them. And there's not many people that have more data than Google. So I'm really intrigued by, they are going to have the best video to text LLM because they have YouTube. Like, so they have all of that training data. So it's not just the transcriptions of that. They also have like the actual what's going on in the video to be able to respond to that. So that looked huge. The Alpha Code 2 like competition and research that came out of that looks really promising. It was even in this, which is part of this release, like it was able to solve I'm trying to remember what that one, Michael, do you remember that, what the case was that they were trying to get it to solve with like regular coding? And in the first round of it, none of the humans could do it and the model couldn't do it. In the second round, I still think the humans couldn't do it, but the model could. It figured out how to do it at that point. So
I didn't see that. Yeah, I didn't see that case.
okay. Yeah. It was basically helping be a code co-pilot, and evidently it's pretty impressive, and they've dropped the papers to back it up. So I do think it's hype, but I do think that there's a lot there too, for sure.
Yeah. I mean, I went and played with Bard, like, just moments afterwards. I was like, this still sucks.
Oh, really? I thought it was way better. I mean, the output style is like, it's like Android versus Apple, right? It's like OpenAI's output feels like smooth and whatever, and the Bard output feels a little Androidy, but the content was, I mean, at least comparatively to what it used to be, was way, way better. I mean, it was like I couldn't even think of a situation where I would want to use Bard before, and now it's like, oh, it was helpful for a few things. So I think it'll be interesting when the developer tools come out. I mean, in like a week or so, and like the platform they're going to build out so you can like build on it, that I think will be interesting to check out.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Tyler.
Yeah, as I said, the Ultra model is the one that I'm like really intrigued on trying, because that's the one they're saying is the 4.5 turbo killer. But I don't know, trust but verify, I guess.
Yeah, and it kind of goes back to like the earlier question to Josh about like kind of tech stack, right? Is all of it's moving so flippin' fast, that you build something one week in one platform, and then something completely smashes that top platform the next week, right? I mean, Respell with their big launch, kind of, coming out. There's a whole bunch of new tools to play with there if you haven't already, and I think one of the consistent, like I was just going to Suzanne, I was just going to play with some of your GPTs, and I'm like, I'm still on the wait list for 4, for plus, and it's a crazy, kind of dichotomy where like, now you're like, I'm just stuck in limbo, because I didn't, earlier I'm gonna use all the free shit, now I'm like, shit, I gotta pay $20 to get that, but I can't get it now. And so it's crazy just how quickly, and all that changed with Dev Day, right? And so it's just moving so fast. Like your tech choices and like your tech stack, especially like I'm at the early stages of really building what I think should be a pretty robust agent that has some pretty good commercial applications, but I'm almost stuck in a little bit of analysis paralysis around like, what do I even build this on, or where do I start my MVP? And I think Make, Respell, like there's you guys even today have gotten some good ideas, but those tech decisions around where do you build and what's going to have longevity? Do you bet on GPT or on ChatGPT or OpenAI? Do you bet on Claude and Anthropic? Do you wait for the next, I don't know. How do you guys think about that? I'm curious.
I can answer that. So in my previous life, I haven't been working since August, which, at first, when you get laid off, not fun. But now I look at it as a blessing because I have all this time to do all this cool stuff. But I was in charge of a creative tech stack to support 400 people. And I had about 50 tools. And this was my job, doing exactly what you're saying. And really, we're too early to be making decisions. And this goes back to what is the problem we're trying to solve? Because when we solve problems, that tool just going and getting a tool and chasing a tool may not be the answer. So you really have to understand for your users, what is it you're trying to solve for them? And then be more kind of platform agnostic about it, because and approach it from that. So gathering requirements, thinking through that, and then figuring out who's in the market. But the market, you're right, is shifting so fast. So really not investing that much. I know I worked at Walmart, and I did read through their whole entire emerging tech stuff that they had put out in Confluence. And a lot of their stuff was, don't lock into anybody right now. Do
Yeah,
not.
that's really good advice. And Suzanne, I like your advice also, of course, like solve the problem, figure out how to solve the problem first. And I imagine that's you guys in your consulting approach. I mean, I'm curious because, Tyler, this is a relatively new thing. I mean, obviously, I had that chance to meet a few months back. And, how are you guys finding, scoping projects, from a consulting practice standpoint when you're looking at, even framing the client ask, or kind of framing the product, if you will. I'm just curious how you guys are thinking, or how you're approaching that from a commercial standpoint.
Yeah, well, Suzanne nailed it. We're going model agnostic right now for sure. So whenever we're building stuff that goes into production, there's a backup of that that's on a completely different or based on a completely different LLM, which kind of stinks because then you've got twice the prompting, right? Because like if you're doing OpenAI and Claude, then you have Markdown and XML and like different sorts of like prompting frameworks you would want to use in there. But we're even trying to like build the tools that help us when we build it in one, it duplicates it and replicates it in the other. So we don't have to work as much on that. But that for sure, because we had a discovery call with the client where we had built a like a chatbot MVP for them and something else. Can't remember what it was. And it was right after Dev Day. And so the API was getting hit a ton and it went down where they were like rate limiting everything. So I'm freaking out because I have like a 95% done MVP that's not ready to go show to these people. And I had to end up going through Claude Pro directly to get it to work because even Claude's API was going wonky that day for some reason. But so I recommend that because clients have enough concern around AI already. If the model goes down and they feel like it's not reliable, then that's just like one more thing it's an uphill battle at that point.
Right.
But and on the scoping side of it depends. Like some of the projects are pretty easy to like tab A slot B, to put it in Ann's terms, but the some of them we're having to charge to scope the project because we don't know what we don't know yet. So like we're building out the MVP, charging them for that, and then figuring out from that, like, where do we go next? Like that's because everything is new and because things are changing so fast.
Yeah, that's the other thing too, and that's why I was saying keeping good notes. So if I was really doing this as my real day-time job and had a whole thing, I'd have a whole backlog of ideas and that, and then have a roadmap to figure things out. But things are changing so fast. So if you're like, oh, I hit a roadblock and I can't do this today, well, you never know. In 3 weeks, something else may come out and you can do that. So I really would kind of like work through it. I mean, that's that, I managed a big, large SaaS product, and our users would come with all these ideas and it'd be like, well, we can't do that today. But I would speak with their product, and eventually maybe that feature came in. So I would, everything's moving so rapidly. Keep those ideas and just keep them in a backlog. And then, or if you can't get to it today because it's too complex, maybe in 3 weeks, they'll retool something and it'll be better. So, I wouldn't waste a lot of time at this point going down a rabbit hole with any one particular platform. That would be.
Yeah, that's great advice. I know we're up on time, so I'll stop my questions. But you guys are awesome. This has been fun. Really enjoyed the chance to hang out with everybody.
Yeah, same. That's what this is fun as to come and chill. That's what we're basically trying to do so that we can bring folks from the AI community in just to come hang out, and then also trying to bring in people that are just curious about AI just to find stuff out and dip your toe in the water if it's a business or whatnot, just answer questions. And because that's what you get. And I don't know about you all, but like when I'm going out into like my real life, it seems like my barber shop is where I have most of these interactions. Is that it I cannot believe how many people just don't even know about AI at all. Like, period. Like, just not even ChatGPT. I went to a trip this weekend and talked to a couple guys. They'd never even heard those words. And I was just like, how?
Yeah,
Um,
yeah,
so yeah.
I live
And,
in Ground Zero because I'm in San Francisco, and I ask every Uber or Lyft driver, every single one I ask. That's my question. So have you tried ChatGPT, or what's your thoughts on autonomous vehicles? Because that
I
one's
love
a
it.
really good one, because in San Francisco you can actually take them. So I was taking Waymo and Cruise quite a bit. But Cruise they put on hold. But yeah,
mm.
it's really interesting how that's even changing everything.
What's been the reaction that you're getting from them on that around all of it? I'm curious.
Most people, of course, even people I know, my friends are like, no, I would never take one of those autonomous vehicles. And I try to describe it as like, it's like going into Starbucks versus a local coffee shop. Unless you're signing up for like Uber Black, you don't know what you're gonna get. You could get some guys, kind of run down. I mean, they're supposed to be somewhat nice, but the driver could be weird or whatever. When the Waymo comes up and it's a Jaguar,
Right.
you're getting like, the Uber Black experience, right? It's like Starbucks. It's a formula. It looks the same. You know what you're getting. So, and I've always felt safe, and I explain that to people I talk with, but they're like, no. I'm like, how many Uber drivers have I had where they almost run somebody down in the crosswalk, or they're not paying, they're looking over here and something's happened over
Yeah.
there, or driving weird. Yeah, I mean,
So
yeah, so
I think the bigger piece here, which I think goes down this what it, across AI in general, is I think people would trust it if it made the same mistakes that humans made, but less frequently. But they will make fatal mistakes that a human would never make, and I think
Yeah.
that's the thing that causes the distrust. And I think it's gonna be the same thing with any kind of automation. It's like, sure, it's great for all the things, and it's better than us at some things, but then when it makes a mistake, it's like something we would never do. And so I think until that piece of it is really under control, I think there's going to be some fundamental mistrust.
Well, and again, you also still have the puppeteer, issue, especially with like Cruise, where you have human engagement, or kind of taking the wheel, remotely happening, a little bit more than they would say, right? And then I think one of the challenges, and this is, I know we're over time, but it's still just like the Google demo to me is so much akin. We go back to the Theranos, kind of there's really nothing behind it, and there's so much of this even happening in AI where it's it looks like AI, but there's still a lot of I always kind of think about the old operator kind of behind the scenes connecting the lines, right? And I think there have always been systems and systems integrations that rely on human interaction more heavily than they would make you think, right? And that's where I think one of the main challenges with AI is in having something that is sure, human in the loop, but can execute at a rate that actually is faster and better and more consistent than humans. And I think just so often what we're seeing is that we're still so early that no matter what, if it's autonomous vehicles or if it's even a process automation, there's still a lot of human interaction to move, from block A to block B to block C. And I guess that's part of what we're all trying to solve.
Yeah, for sure. Like that's and to your point, like what you keep saying too, like it's just moving so quickly that this is a whole other thing, and maybe we can talk about this next week or something, which will be fun. I would love to get into thinking about how are you guys thinking about governance, or how are you rolling this out responsibly, ethically, all of these sorts of things, because yeah, because people don't even know about ChatGPT, and then how are they supposed to know to have that level of thinking about it, of like the downstream effects of when we start putting these things into place, like to navigate through that's something that I think about a lot, and we think about a lot, like on our team. And yeah, and that's something that the way I think that we solve that is not necessarily with government doing that. I think it's going to be bringing more people to the table, getting more people interested, having more input on that. But again, that's my opinion. So it's that and $1 will buy you a Coke. That's what my dad always says. So maybe not anymore. Golly, Coke's gone up a lot these days.
Yeah,
so.
that's not just $1 anymore.
Yeah. So, okay. Well, thank you guys for coming and hanging. This was fun. We'll wrap this up now. But if you are watching this after the live stream and you have questions or anything, feel free to leave us comments down in the section. We'll come back to them. We check those, answer them. Jonathan, Suzanne, Chi, Michael, Lars, Hunter was here. Sarah was here. We had some other folks jump in and out. Thank you guys. It was a lot of fun. Hope y'all have a great weekend.
Thanks, guys. Take care.
All right.
Bye,
See
everybody.
y'all.